I think that the world, the universe, beyond the universe, whatever it is, I think God, whatever you want to call it, I call it God, is overall good, right? And I think that, I guess I wouldn't say, I was born and raised Christian, and so obviously I come from a monotheistic viewpoint, and that is definitely how my perspective was created. And how I look at the world is that I look at human beings and we're able to create some incredible things. And I think it's very arrogant to think that we are the highest level of intelligence in this universe that is so beyond vast. We can't even picture how big the solar system alone is, not even our galaxy. So to think that we're at the highest level of intelligence here, I think that is completely absurd. And for it to be random chance, I look at it this way. As a writer or a storyteller, when you're creating a story and you put your characters in the story and there's an inciting incident, something bad that happens, someone loses their job in your story. For that character, it's very bad, it might seem life-threatening, but you as the master storyteller know that at the end of that story, there's going to be redemption and something good that came back to that. And I think about the same way is that when things happen in our life, we might say that this is absolutely terrible. Say, why would this happen to me? But we don't see the overall plan, that everything's connected. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's how life is, whether it's God and the God of the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, the God of, whatever religion. I don't know if it's, I think that God is good. And so I think that everything does happen for a reason. I think we are allowed a lot of wiggle room in what happens in our lives. And that's why we're able to create such wonderful things. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I said that the universe is overall good, because in life we see that there's good and bad, and I think that they balance each other out. It's like with every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction type thing. So every negative, there's a positive, and blah, blah, blah. On and on and on. I mean, you could go on forever with examples. So I think that is how God or whatever created the universe, and I don't know, that's kind of what I believe.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, just to make sure I understand what you're saying, the main thing is like the world or God is like he's overall good. Like, mm-hmm. And that there's this master story that the universe is playing out.
Something, yeah.
Like there's a plan to it all, and everything happens for a reason.
I think and there's a part of me that I think that everything does happen for a reason, in the sense that the things that happen to us, it's not at the end of it all, at the end of our lives or the story, whatever you want to call it, those things that happen were part of the overall good that needed to happen. I don't know. I think that, I also think that, sometimes I think that, if there is a heaven, there's such a thing that we'll get to the point where we have a conversation with God and we all want to ask why, right? Why? It's innate in humans to ask why. We are always asking why, but that's how come we've come so far as a civilization to create things we have, is because we never stop asking why. And I imagine that maybe it comes to the point where we ask that final that one conversation with God, we say, why did this happen? And he just says, because. Or he says something like, it just happened. It doesn't, maybe the point of life is not to question so much why, but just to do, just to live, be here, be good. Instead of constantly wondering and beating ourselves up and doubting. And I'm not saying we all do that when we ask why, but a lot of people are, why does this happen? Why is this a victim mentality? Maybe it's instead of keep asking why these things happen to you, why don't you just go out and make your life? I think that's what God or whatever the universe would want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, is this God something that actually exists? Is like a person or a thing?
I think real? That. Well, reality is something that is everyone's own perspective. The old adage of one man's trash is another man's treasure is not only an adage about perspective, but also about about reality. Because I can see something one way, and you can look at it and completely come up with a different thing. It's just, I go back to the translations of the Bible. They've been translated so many different ways, and I can read one verse, and my mom can read another, and we have a completely different outlook on it. So reality, I think, is, we've all come to an understanding society that that's a dog, that's a tree, that's bad, that's good. But those things happen as we grew as a society to understand, okay, we agree on that, now you're in that. An alien comes from another planet and could be like, that's not a dog, that's a whatever, or I don't even see it because maybe their spectrum of color can't even see that. You know what I mean? So I think that God is everything. You know, and if he or she or it wants to I believe that we are all manifestations of a part of God because He's everything. I know it's a very
So what is like one of the main reasons why you believe in God or whatever it is?
because I think that there is I feel there's that voice in the back of my head, my conscious, I would say, but I also believe it's a voice of something greater and better that if I really listen, if I take a second when I'm making a decision, if I know something's bad or good, it's always that little voice that's saying, don't do this or go there. And there's always those moments when I feel like my spirit is so charged when I overcome situations, I have the courage, and I feel like that is God or the greater good.
So hearing this little voice and feeling that it's true, could there be a more justified way to believe in it?
I don't really understand.
Like a lot of people could feel and hear voices about a lot of things.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So is there any way you could maybe test this belief to make sure it's accurate?
No, and I think that's where faith comes in. I think that, obviously our world is very much based on science, and there's many people, including myself, the more I study, I feel like the less I know, that empirically, you can't test that. But the one thing I always say is, do you love your wife? You love her? Prove it. Prove that you love her. And someone will say, well, I do this for her, and we're married, and we have children, and I buy her this, and I do that, and I take her on dates. Like, but those are just things. I mean, how do you prove that feeling? How do you prove that level of faith? I bit up.
So by faith, you mean it's like a feeling? What do you mean by faith?
By faith, I mean, I have faith that there is something greater. I deeply, deeply believe that the world overall, the universe, is good. And I believe, I don't know how I could ever test that. I just believe that, because if I'm not optimistic, it's uncomfortable. How can I'd rather choose to believe that it is good, because to live a life where I'm pessimistic and I think everything is bad is a terrible life.
So yeah, I don't know if this is the case, but if there was a way to know definitively, absolutely, if there wasn't something greater, or if that wasn't true, would you want to know that?
Would I want to live in a false reality, or a reality that doesn't coincide with my own? I think I'd want to take the one pill in the Matrix that makes you go into the Matrix. What is that, the red pill? The one that makes you aware.
I think that's the blue.
The blue pill. Yeah, I would think I'd want to be aware. But then again, as a human being, would I accept that? I don't know. Even if someone puts something right in my face and says there is no God and this is the proof, would I be able to accept that? Is the question. I'm saying I would want to know, but would I be able to accept that?
So you're saying you would want to know reality as it is? Or
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the red pill.
Yes. I would want to know it as it is, not as I see it. But I think that as humans, I don't think that that'll ever be possible. Our entire present moment leading up to right now in this conversation is completely colored by all of our past experiences. So I don't know if that's possible.
So using faith as a method to figuring out the world, is that a reliable way to come to beliefs in general? Or do you use that in any other realm of your life?
I think that I use faith to push myself forward in life, because I myself question a lot of the validity of the Bible. I grew up with it, but there's a lot of things in it that I just, did God really create the earth in 6-7 days? Did Noah really build an ark and put 2 of every species on this planet? I don't think so. And maybe God did create in 6 days, but maybe those 6 days were equivalent to 6 billion years. I don't know, you know what I mean? So I question a lot of that. So scientifically, I look at that and go, I don't know, that doesn't look possible from our viewpoint now. I guess I use faith when I talk about the greater good, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, in the sense that it helps me to do better in life. It gives me hope. I guess faith is hope, equivalent to hope. I have hope that 10 years from now, my life will be better than it is now in my family's life.
So you might use this belief to help you in your own life,
Yes.
to give you hope. But how does hope relate to like the truth of the actual reality of the world?
I think that we create our own truth. I mean, obviously I think a lot of religious people and just non-religious people, a lot of people would say that truth is absolute, but maybe it is absolute. Maybe there is a truth. Maybe there is a reality that is this. But I think that like I said, we're all colored by the things that we have grown up with. We're colored by the generations past, the things that they believed grown up with that is inherent in us. There's certain species of stuff that can't see certain rays of light, so they'll never really know what green is. So that's not true to them. No, that's not green. That looks black, or I don't know.
Well, yeah, like we've evolved to see certain spectrums of the color, whatever. Like, but X-rays actually exist, but we can't see it with our own eyes.
Yeah.
We've used tools to see that, to discover that, and measure it. But we've measured it. We've found evidence for it.
Yeah.
Should we believe in things that we have a hard time finding evidence for, or should we reserve judgment about those things?
I think that is a life best lived believing only the things that are observable by humans. I don't know, because I'm sure you felt it, the feelings that we feel, the emotions that we feel. How do you empirically judge those? I mean, other than maybe you say, okay, well, his hormone level is rising up when he's excited. I guess that's empirically, but what does that really tell you other than that his hormones level is rising up? Oh, he gets angry, But, look at space. There's dark matter that we believe is there. We can't see it, so I've been able to accept it. We believe in black holes. Can't see them, but we say that they're there. When it comes down, I believe in almost everything that science tells us about the world from our observable standpoint. But I think that there is another level to this life. Maybe multiple. There's other dimensions to this life. There's other things. There's so many experiences, that we have that we can't explain scientifically, but maybe it's not we can't explain them yet. Maybe thousands of years from now, a million years, human years, or in the human race, maybe we'll be able to look back and go, they felt that way because of so-and-so, and here's the evidence for it.
Yeah. It's kind of like a single rainbow.
Stay here.
It's beautiful and
Stay here.
it's nice, but there's also physicality of it, like how we actually know it works.
Yeah.
Like, it may, actually knowing how it works doesn't really diminish it from the beauty of it. So yeah. Cool. Well, stuff to think about.
Right on, man. I love it.
It's great.
It's great. What was your name again? Reed. And it was Curiosity?
Cordial curiosity.
Cordial Curiosity. All right, man. Good luck with this. This is awesome, dude. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.